Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
What is up, y'all? We're back with episode 2, and we're super excited. We got so much good feedback from the first episode, so we're ready for episode 2. And a special episode, we have our very first 2 guests to come on A Woman's Tale. This is Marissa. We've been friends for a long time friends back all the way back in high school. And a long time friend we have over here, Justin. So, yeah, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, Marissa.
I'm Marissa. I'm a mother of 2. I'm graduating tomorrow from IUP in business management and human resources management. I'm currently in a relationship, so I'm just here to give you some of my input and feedback on what I think dating is or is not.
And I'm Justin. I've been knowing Buki and Ashante for 20 years at this point. I'm graduating from law school in about a week. I'm excited about that. I'm excited to talk about the topics we have at hand today. And
Yes, y'all. Let's get into it. We're talking about relationships and dating today. So let's jump right in.
All right, so I wanted to start off with a quote today that I seen, and it says, "Happily ever after is not a fairy tale, but it's a choice." And I just feel like that really clicked with me so much because I don't think people understand, especially in our age, that like relationships are literally work and work and work over and over again. Like when we were back in having relationships in high school or when we were younger, like you didn't have to do no work. There was no work put in. We're talking on the phone. We might see you at the movies, cool, and we felt happy. It was cool. But as an adult, it's completely different and it's like way more work. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about, what relationships are to different people because it's funny when you have, people, they look at relationships differently. We don't all look at relationships the same. So, let's talk a little bit about, what a relationship means to you.
Well, I can start off. I think that a relationship is basically 2 people that are really into each other. Now, it could be emotionally, sexually, spiritually, financially sometimes at this point in the world. I think it's when 2 people are faithful and committed. Because the talking phase is the word dating is different than a word relationship to me, but it kind of means the same thing. To everybody, it's different. I think that when you're dating somebody, you should still be faithful. And I think the talking phase is like what's in our generation. I don't think that was dating back then. If I told my mom, I'm talking to a guy, does she really even understand that? Versus she just thinks I'm dating. But if I told my mom I'm dating, she might think I'm dating multiple men. So to me, it's just when 2 people like each other and are working towards being together.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that dating now, I mean, for me, I think it's more so like I might go on a date with you, but next week I might be on a date with somebody else. Not meaning that, and be serious with either person, but it's not something that, it's
committed,
not like,
fully committed.
Right.
What about you, Justin? What you think about it?
well, are we talking about? It depends on what type of relationship we're talking about. When we say like, what does a relationship mean to you? Are we talking about a platonic relationship? Are we talking about a romantic relationship?
Like a romantic relationship.
Yeah, romantic.
Relationship? What does a relationship mean to me? It all depends on what type of relationship that we're having. Are we having I think Rich just touched on this a little bit. Are we having an exclusive relationship? Well, you said dating is, if you're dating, you should still be faithful. I think that you be faithful when you're in the relationship. If you're dating
But not
to
necessarily
me,
dating.
like if you're dating to me, you're still exploring other options.
Right.
And then like there's like the people who say like we're exclusively dating, which basically means that you're in a relationship to me. But I feel like a relationship is just a commitment between 2 people to grow together, to learn from one another, and just to love on each other, like just to have like a healthy interaction consistently.
Right.
I
like that.
agree. I agree 100%. Like dating and being in a committed relationship is just completely different. Like being in a committed relationship, it's like it's just me and you. We figuring this life thing out together. But when you're dating, I think you should date multiple people. I think, you know, we can't put dating on like that word dating is like you're getting to know multiple people. You don't belong to anybody, you're not committed to anybody. Like have fun and don't be controlling with the person you're dating and tell them, they can't date, but you out here dating because a lot of us do that because we're possessive. But when you're dating and the other person knows you're dating, it's okay to talk to other people, get to know other people, mingle with other people, sleep with other people, whatever it is you want to do it until you decide to make that commitment to one person.
Cool. I like that. So, all right. So we could go around the table, but I'm married, so I won't count. But at this stage in your life now, you three, what are you dating for at this stage in your life? Because I feel like it could change at different stages in your life, right? Like I feel like sometimes you might date like, all right, I'm looking for a wife, I'm looking for a husband. Sometimes you might be like, I'm just dating, I'm just looking to find a friend, a companion to chill with, kick it with, but not really take it anywhere further than that. Like there's plenty of reasons I feel like you would be dating. So like, now what is your space in dating? Like what are you dating for?
Dating is to find a partner. I think that's the most, and what partner means to me is everything. What I do everything with. Okay, my boyfriend and I have 2 children, so I think that's the most important thing. I want to be married. I want to be a wife one day. I want a husband one day. I want us to grow together and learn. So that's what I'm dating for forever. Lifelong person. Somebody to, wipe my butt when I can't and watch their back when they can't. And just a forever friend. I think friendship is the most important part of it. And then the intimacy, all that just makes it better.
About you, Tay?
I would say I'm dating right now. I don't know, honestly. Like I feel like I know exactly what I want in a person. So right now I'm dating like I'm just having fun, but I know exactly what it is that I want. So I'm just basically doing me until I like find that thing that I visualize for myself. So yeah, that's me currently.
Yes.
I think like when I was a little bit younger, I'm like talking like I'm old, but like I'm 28, but still when I was a little bit younger, I was dating for like a goal. I think a lot of people do that. It's like, all right, like this is what I want. This is what I want in a person. Here's what I'm willing to accept. Here's what I'm not willing to accept. But I think as of late, I realized that not just in romantic relationships, just relationships that I possess in general, I don't necessarily look at them with like goals in mind, like we're gonna make it to the end or we're going to like if that happens, I feel like it'll be meant to be and we'll make it there over time. But what I'm dating for is an experience. And I feel like I feel like a lot of people like fall on either end of that, like exclusively. But I feel like it's more so like, okay, a lot of people date for ownership. To me, it's like, okay, I want to date you. I want to be in a relationship so I can have you to myself and you can't talk to anybody else.
Right. I don't even really want you.
Like, and I don't think that that's my purpose in dating anymore. I feel like my purpose in dating is just to bring positivity to another person's life, for them to bring positivity to my life. We can learn from each other. We can love each other. And if it's meant to last forever, then we'll make it to forever. If it's not meant to be that, because like people are constantly growing, people are constantly maturing, evolving, and you never know which direction the next person is going to go.
That's so true. So true.
So like I might evolve at a different rate than another person, or they might evolve in a different direction than me. So like you can never really account for that.
Right.
So I'm not like, oh, like I'm looking at you right now and I might say like right at this second, like I could see you being my wife, like forever. But like we can't account for, when I'm 38, where I'm gonna be in life. Cause like I could never have imagined where I'm at right now when I was 18.
Right.
Like I think completely differently.
Right.
So it's just like I would say more so. I'm more so into the experience of it all and it helping me grow as a person.
I think that's such a good way to look at it because I it could be more authentic that way. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people do go into like a dating or a relationship as in like, oh, you're gonna be my wife, but it's like no, because what if we get into it and like you said, like people grow at different paces, and I think that it's so important to see that early on. You know what I mean? Like for instance, for me, so y'all are not married, but so like I'm married, and you know we've been together since we were kids, and so when you start to grow at different paces sometimes it could cause, you know, problems. Yeah, frictions because it's like you're growing here and I'm growing here, but how do we bring that back and grow as one? You know what I mean? Two separate people, but as one together. And it's hard. So like I really, you know, like what you said, like you probably need to see that stuff early on.
I really got a question for you though. Like, what would you feel like is the biggest difference between before you got married to marriage now?
The biggest difference, okay, so for me personally, um, I we all were like really independent growing up. Like like me, you, Quay, my mom, like we all worked our own separate jobs. We all really made our own money come like high school. So for me, that has always been my mindset. Like me. Like I'm making this money. Like, you know,
This is my money.
not even that it's my basically, right? And I know a lot of married people like they will have separate accounts, but they'll also have like a combined account that they may pay bills from or do whatever. And like I had to really start to change my mindset just being married. Like, okay, it don't matter if I got it or you got it. We have to have it together. Like, and so that's something that I really had to work on because it's like when you're by yourself and especially so young, like you're grinding, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's not just mine. You know what I mean? And it's not just yours. Like whatever we making, like we're both going to benefit from it. Or our family is going to benefit from it. So I feel like that's one of the biggest differences is like, okay, when people say like you become one, like you hear it, but like, do you really know what that means? You know what I mean? Do you really understand what it takes to like move as one?
Yeah.
That's the biggest one of the biggest differences, I feel like. And then another big difference that I feel like is that just your way of thinking. Like two people could think so differently, but how do you move together but also have your own separate minds if that makes sense? And I think that that's something that's huge from being prior to marriage because it's cool. Like you think differently, okay, whatever. Especially you know before kids, all of that. But when you bring kids into it and you're married and you're trying to move as a unit, it's like we gotta come to some type of like understanding or some type of something to move together and not be so separate minded, if that makes sense. So those are my two things I would say, just from going from before marriage to after. And it's definitely work and it takes time, you know, to do that and really be comfortable in that, and to be able to communicate about that. It definitely takes time for sure. So
I want to say, like, is that soulmate, that forever, that like that fairy tale, like you touched on at the beginning, that you know, is that a thing? Is that real, or is that something that we were conditioned to believe? Like, you know, are we really made to be with a certain person? Like as Justin was talking about, oh, you know, if you my forever, if you meant to be, you know what I'm saying, and you're talking about, you know, your marriage is that real?
I think that it depends on what you think a soulmate is. Because I think a lot of people look at soulmate like this is the only person who was made for you in this world who you will have forever with. I don't think that that's a soulmate. I don't look at a soulmate like that. A soulmate to me is I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like that's your person. That's your person. Whether we're together, whether we're but listen, I feel like we do. Whether we're together or not, you will always. I feel like you will always be my person. That's what I feel like a soulmate is. So to me, like even if we're not together, like you'll be my person.
I think that's completely true also. And I think my best friend Kenya is my soulmate. And I don't mean I'm not sexually attracted to her like that. I think she's the most beautiful woman in the world, but I think she was made to be my best friend. And she is my soulmate in best friend form. And I pray that I find that in a man. If that makes
so you think that it's real?
Yeah, yes, 100%. And I think that when I first met my current boyfriend, I was like, he is my soulmate. I'm marrying this man. And that's kind of so like how it happened. And now that I'm in this relationship, which I love him very much, I'm realizing we're extremely different. And just the other day, he was like, I don't even believe in soulmates. My heart was shattered. I was like, we thought that we were soulmates. And that was not the case in his eyes. But it's because he doesn't believe in them. And that doesn't mean we're not meant for each other. We're just having a really hard time like in these challenges. But that's how we work through them together. But I do think we're meant for each other, or we were meant to have these children, or we were meant, God brought us together for that very reason.
My thing is, I feel like you can have a soulmate, but I also just feel like your soulmate is based off of the traits that work for you.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I was living in Houston or LA or New York, somebody who I think is my soulmate here in Pittsburgh, I wouldn't think that because I wouldn't know them. But I might meet somebody in New York who has the same traits as them, you know? So I feel like, yeah, you do have a soulmate, but at the same time, it's like I feel like it could change based on location. It could change on based on
right, because
like
I think like if you think about the word soulmate, like
this is the only person.
Aside from the outside traits or the personalities,
Behaviors.
it's like the person's soul, like that you're connected to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so regardless of like other personalities who you might click with and you might really like, it's still the soul part. Like, I feel like we're always gonna be connected. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
So
the soul
so
part.
is the idea?
No.
So
Yeah.
wait.
No,
And
I don't
aside
feel like
from
you have
the-
to be with that person. I don't feel
Yeah,
like that.
is the idea of you have a soulmate, is that based on you guys like reconnecting? Do you feel like you're reconnecting?
I
You know? Like, are you recognizing that
I didn't
person's
hear your
soul?
question. I'm sorry.
Are you reconnecting with that person? Are you recognizing that person's soul again? Or is it like,
right? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. No.
you
No,
know,
I don't feel like that. But I do feel like when that person is your person.
mhm.
Like I just feel like like in whether it's friends, whether it's couple or not, I just like
Yeah.
it's like a feeling from God. Like it's not.
Mhm.
So I don't agree. Like you use the words traits, and that's what I want to ask you next. Is like, what does the word trait mean to you? Because I kind of look at traits and behaviors as something similar. So although I might not like my boyfriend's behaviors, I sometimes get through like certain behaviors and things by knowing like he's like believing he's my soulmate.
Mhm.
Aside from those behaviors, I feel like you're thinking based off of what we talked about earlier. And so like you have a preconceived idea of what the relationship is. But in this term of soulmate, which you're completely right. If I was not on a podcast, I'd be like, girl, I know what you're talking about. But I think now that it's more so like some of those behaviors can be changed. But the love I have for him cannot be changed. It's like a never unwavering love. It's an unwavering connection. That nothing, no matter like it's just natural. It's not forced. Like he could lose his arm and his leg and I wouldn't think twice about it. He could get burned in a fire and look completely different and I wouldn't think twice about it. Now, I think we look away from people's behaviors based off of believing there are soulmates, but I feel like that's for a different question.
And also, like you had mentioned, you believing that your boyfriend was your soulmate because of y'all similarities. I feel like
No, because the moment I've seen him, I felt that.
yeah.
I said, who is he? I need to know him.
Yeah.
And then within days, we met again
Mhm.
and met again.
Mhm.
And then 2 days later, we went to New York. And in that moment, I was just like, this never went away.
Right.
And one time we got into an argument recently that he said some things to me that kind of made me go, how do you look at me like that? I look at you like this and you look at me like that.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
No, wait, can I say something real quick? No, but I feel like a lot of people mix up soulmates with twin flames.
Yes.
And
Repeat that word.
I feel like a lot of people mix up soulmates with twin flames.
Well, what is a twin flame?
A twin,
Just define
sorry,
that
so
for
a
me.
soulmate is like you and I were very different, but the puzzle pieces fit together.
Yes.
That's a what?
A soulmate. You know,
I
I
think
agree with
yeah.
a twin flame is like we're cut from the same cloth.
We're
Like
exactly the
we're exactly the
same.
same, and some people
We're
can
mirrors of
deal
each
with
other.
that depending
Mhm.
on who you are.
Yeah.
You know, like some people can deal with their twin flame, and
It's
some people
hard.
can't. And some people can deal with their soulmate, and some people can't in a romantic sense. You know,
Yeah.
so I feel like a lot of times when people are saying, "Oh, this is my soulmate. This is my soulmate. We like the same shit." Wait, we're not allowed to cuss, right? Or we allowed
Yeah,
to-
you can
all right,
say
so
whatever
we
you
like
want.
so we like the same. We like the same stuff, but I feel like, or like y'all lives mirror each other,
We
or
fit.
yeah,
Fit perfectly with
yeah,
somebody.
like, you know, but y'all have like the same perspectives on things. I feel like with your soulmate, you may not have the same perspective on things, but together
It's
y'all
a
move
balance.
as a
It's like a
force.
great
Equal
balance.
You know, so like I feel like a lot of people have a difficult time differentiating.
They don't
between
know
the
what twin flames
two,
are.
you know,
people don't
yeah,
know. But
like-
have you ever heard of twin flames?
No, I didn't. But now
I mean, you've heard of it, but you
Yeah.
really don't know.
I've
about it.
never,
Right,
I've
right.
never even heard of it, to be honest. And after like we spoke a couple weeks ago, just in general about like our personal issues, like relationship issues, and I feel like one person you dealt with in your lifetime was your twin, like your twin flame, and now I feel like I could relate that back and understand what you meant then.
Right,
And if you think that's accurate, then I might be right.
right.
Do I have a good interpretation of what a twin flame is now? Is that what you meant when you said that?
No,
Okay.
not based on
well,
that.
then yeah, then
that
I don't
person
have
that
the
think
like.
you're
Then I
talking
don't think I have a
Do
clear
some research on
understanding.
twin flames because it will help you like figure out like is
Yeah.
this my soulmate or
Yeah.
is this my twin flame,
Flame.
and it will help you
Because-
make a decision too, like
Mhm.
the
because it's a two completely different relationships.
Yep.
yeah, like the positives in that is like you're gonna connect with that person on a different level because you like truly
A
understand
deeper
them.
level.
Twin
You
flame?
know, yeah.
Yeah.
But like because it's
I
like
don't
it's
think I have
you,
a twin flame.
you know. But it's
Yeah.
like on another level, like you're also seeing the things that you don't like in yourself.
Mhm.
You
It
know,
forces you to see who
So-
you really are.
Does it have to be like romantic, or could it be a friend? Like, could it be?
It's confused. It's confusing. It can be confused for a romantic relationship because a lot of people confuse it with your soulmate. So most twin flames do
End up-
get romantic with each other.
Okay, could it be a parent?
No.
Okay, so it's like some. No, I'm just trying to like,
Parent.
you know what I mean? Because sometimes we're just like our parents and we don't want to be, or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And so when he said, look at somebody's behavior, and it's really like your own. Like, you know, it's like a mirror of that. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna do some research on that one.
What did you have to say?
I wanted to say, well, I asked that question because I have been just having my reservations about what a soulmate is. And, you know, just hearing you talk about, you know, your situation and talking about his like twin flame or his soulmate. I believed in soulmates like forever. And now, you know, once I like, you know, as I'm aging, I'm dating a little bit more, I'm starting to realize that, you know, and this is just my own personal like feeling that it's not a thing. Like there is not one person
You.
made for you. But I'm just saying the quote that you read said, happily
I-
ever after is not a fairy tale. Soulmates are a fairy tale.
Soulmates
Wait,
are
let
not
me
a fairy
finish.
tale.
Soulmates are a fairy tale. It's in our minds. Like you're saying to me, oh, you know, my love will never change for him. This is my love, But like when he look at me, it's like, do you not feel the same? It's like that's in our minds. Like it's all in our minds for real. And it's like it says it's a choice. Happily ever after is not a fairy tale. It's a choice. So I believe that we don't have a soulmate. There's a person that we're going to choose to come together and we're going to figure this shit out and we're going to work it out no matter what. It's a choice. It's not a soulmate. Because if there was a soulmate, then there wouldn't be a choice. But listen, let me finish. Cause like I'm really starting to believe this, and you made me lose my thought doing that. But what was I saying? Go ahead. I was just saying.
No, I
I was
thought
just
you were
saying.
there. I was gonna say
I
you
was
were
just
saying
saying.
it's a choice.
Basically, what I'm saying is, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit, but I really don't believe in, you know, us having a soulmate. I really believe that we choose a person that we. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to say, the people that I see make it last literally forever, like who stay together forever, are not people who are truly in love with each other. They're people who making it work for finances. They're making it work because they got, you know, their families. They're making it work, you know, for whatever other reason. And sometimes
That's my
love
biggest
is
fear.
the last thing on their list. And does that
And
make
that
them,
is not
that's-
a good.
that
That
I'm
is
saying people who say that they're soulmates, really, don't ever
No,
last.
okay, but right here, but here's the thing.
Don't ever last. You make it work with a partner who y'all might have the same things in common. Y'all got the same life goals, but I don't think that's a soulmate.
Right. That doesn't have to be a soulmate, but making it work and being happy are two completely different things.
Mhm.
I would never want to settle and make it work just because of making it work. What are we making it work for? You know what I mean? Like when you talk about being in a relationship, ultimately you want to be happy. And not saying that I think like not saying that a soulmate is like that fairy tale Prince Charming rescue me from the castle type of thing. It's what he was basically saying. Like it's two people who can be really different, but
you
are
also found them
connected
in another
in
state,
such a
is what
way.
he said.
Well, yeah, but not that part.
That's not a soulmate.
You could be different, but you can also be so connected. Like,
but you could connect with many people. And I'm just saying, based
No.
off of my personal experiences, I have had deep connections with multiple people. And I can't say that any of them were my soulmate. I just know how to create a deep connection with a person.
right.
You could create that. And that's a choice I made. You make choices to create connections, which means like you can create in your mind, like, this is my soulmate. How many times have you said in your life, this is my soulmate? You know what I'm saying?
Once.
Okay, Marissa, how many times you said somebody was your soulmate?
Once. I never said you were
Justin,
my
how
soulmate.
many
I
times?
never said
wait,
you were
Justin,
my soulmate.
how
though.
many times have you heard a woman say you was her soulmate?
Multiple times.
Okay, that's what I'm
But
saying,
like my thing
like-
is like also
Yeah, once.
life is all about perspective
It
too.
is.
So it's like what makes one
Yes.
person happy might not make another person happy. And also like whenever you believe that you're someone's soulmate, I feel like a lot of times you let that person get away with
With
more.
murder.
You know? And it's like, okay, and that's where she's talking about there's a difference between what you're talking about where you're like, okay, happiness is what was it, a choice?
Happiness ever after is not a fairy tale. It's a choice.
It's a choice. And I feel like the choice comes in being with that person. Like I could acknowledge that somebody's my soulmate, but like we may not be compatible to in a relationship, you know? We may not be able to I may not respect your values on certain things. Or I may not be happy with just other aspects of a relationship that it takes to make a relationship work.
So would you
No.
stay with that said person if you felt like they were your soulmate? If you felt like we're not compatible, I don't really respect a lot of things about you, but I feel like you're my soulmate. So do you stay or do you go?
I think you try your hardest to make it work.
But if you go, don't you
No.
feel like they're still your soulmate because you're
Yeah,
making
you're
the
still
more
gonna be my
respectful
soulmate. Even if you're
decision?
with another man and I'm with another woman, you're still my soulmate.
That's what I feel like.
I'm
That's
still
what I
gonna
feel like a soulmate
I'm still gonna have these feelings about you. And I feel like this is where the difference of opinion is coming between you two, which is like you're talking about a relationship and she's talking about feelings. And in this title, it's a combination of both. You know, so it's like
Had a good recruit.
I just feel like yeah, in order for a relationship to work, you have to choose that person over and over and over again. You have to accept the fact that they're human. They're gonna make mistakes, and like we like to like in our society today, it's like it's real quick. You know, we could swipe up and see another girl with these physical attributes or this girl that we feel
aesthetics,
like
yeah.
would but this is an imaginary person. You know? And it's like because everything's so instantaneous now, it's hard to like commit and choose that person again, like you know, day in and day out, even when they're messing up, even when this other guy looks attractive to you, even when this other woman looks attractive to you. Those are what like relationships are built on, like just stability and choosing a person when they're up or whether they're down, whatever the case may be. But I feel like a soulmate that's not your choice. You know, it's not my choice that I connected with this person like this. But it is my choice that it didn't like work out.
But I feel like you could connect with anybody that you spend enough time with. Like
No.
I do feel like that. Like Bookie said, she found her soulmate. That's pretty much most of her life has been with that one person, so that's all she connected with. You say you feel like your man.
No, that's
You said you feel like your man's your soulmate. Y'all got kids together. You was attracted to him at first sight, and now like you spent so much. Y'all probably live together. Y'all spent so much time together. But it's like you could do that. Like you literally could connect to anybody.
no, you don't connect with anybody.
If you spend enough time with them,
No.
but you have to allow yourself that. You have to give yourself freedom to do that, and you could literally connect with anybody.
But does it come natural?
Exactly. Some things are really
if you
forced.
spend enough time
No.
with a person, I feel like you can.
Do you have the urge to go spend that time with them if you don't get them feelings naturally?
If they give you that time though, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes we don't get to connect with our soulmates because they don't want us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, y'all. I don't know.
I don't think you connect with anybody.
You could connect with anybody that want to connect with you. I really do feel like that, or who you want to. I don't know. I feel like you could have multiple soulmates. Maybe.
I think the best part is like listening to both of your perspectives because I feel like I almost fully agree with all of them, depending on what perspective I'm choosing to look at it from. And like I said, my best friend, I believe, is my soulmate. They have multiple soulmates. Like, you know what I mean? Multiple things. Like, I think everybody has a purpose and this and that. And it's just the idea I have of soulmates brings me a feeling. And these people I'm choosing, or that God chose, however you want to look at it, I get that feeling naturally. Like, you know what I mean? And it wasn't, I just feel like it's a natural thing. I think you could have multiple people that are meant for you. And the word soulmate is just like all based off of our perspective.
How about this? How about you are my soulmate at this point in time in my life? I needed you at this time. You needed me. You was my soulmate for this.
I wouldn't say that was a soulmate
in my life.
But what
my
about
soul needed you? You fed my soul.
I believe that because what if somebody? I believe that because a lot of people are in relationships and another individual passes away, and that was your soulmate. You believe that, but you learn to grow and move on. So yes, you could have. The answer to your question, I believe, would now be yes, because you never know. You know what happens whenever my grandma lost her husband when she was 30 or 40. She got married again at 60. They could have both been her soulmate. It's just like, it's what you believe in and what your faith is in. But so I think yes.
So, well, let's give it up for all the soulmates. But but I got a question for y'all. So just speaking on relationships and dating, what are some, we could call them red flags, turnoffs, or even deal breakers in a relationship that is like, no, I will not do it. I can't. What y'all thinking?
I think deal breakers change with time. I've had a lot of deal breakers that I'm like, if he cheats on me, it's over. I've been cheated on in every relationship I've been in. So obviously that's not a deal breaker with me, but I've never respected myself. So now I'm learning to respect myself, that if something like that happens again, I would be damned if I stayed. And also I think my number one deal breaker though is a relationship with God. And it doesn't have to be necessarily God. It could be Allah, whatever. You have to believe in something bigger than yourself. And I don't want to be with somebody who thinks that this is it. And I need you to be able to learn. So I could sit on say like lying, cheating, that's all a deal breaker when my behavior showed that it's obviously not.
Right.
But that's my opinion.
All right, what y'all think?
Oh, go ahead. What you think about it?
Skip me.
All right. You go, then I'll go.
All right, I'll go. So what's a red? You said what's a red flag?
Mhm.
And then what was the other one?
Well, any of those things, like your relationship dating, so like red
Or a deal
flags,
breaker.
turn off,
Deal breaker.
or
So,
like a deal breaker.
Also, so like a red flag. I'll go with the red flag first, which I feel like is different than a deal breaker.
Mhm.
Like a red
Right.
flag is like something you see and it alarms you, like that this person may have this trait that is a deal breaker for you.
Mhm.
Like a red flag may not ever come to fruition,
Mhm.
but like a red flag to me would be like, so immediately, like when I start dating a woman now, it's like, can I see you being do you have maternal qualities?
Okay.
So, a red flag would be like me just predicting that you don't possess those qualities.
Are you talking about? Are you giving yourself a red flag? Or are you
No,
giving? Oh,
maternal.
Okay. Oh,
That's
okay.
what-
So you're saying
yeah.
for women,
Yeah.
if they don't have maternal ways,
That's a red flag.
that's a red
Yeah,
flag.
that's a
But
red
you know
flag for
what
me.
though?
I don't know if that's
Women
fair.
could really like there might be a woman who you might have known and be like, oh, she was wild, she was this, she was that, and like a child could really change a woman. Like a child could really change a woman. Like, and that just goes to show, like, I don't even think men understand the physical and mental change that women go through with each child. Like, you could change so much from a week ago. You know what I mean? To when after you have that child, like you could really change and you could be the best mother ever, and people be like,
Right. And I feel like that would be the difference in, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a
so like,
difference
what
between
examples?
there's
What,
a
yeah.
red flag
So what is
and
so
a,
examples? What do you
and a
mean?
deal breaker. So, like, what would make me think that someone would not be
Like what? So you said a red flag is like maternal. So if they don't have maternal ways, so if you're dating a woman, y'all on like say third date, what is something that would turn you off in that maternal aspect that you were talking about? What is something that she could say or something that she does that you would be like, no, you don't have good maternal ways?
I don't know if that's a good question. I feel like a good question would be, what does a
Well,
woman
ask it then.
Yeah, yeah. I'm saying, what does a maternal woman look like to you who doesn't have children? Like, what are those qualities like? Well, that was a
so
little difficult.
like, and it's like, all
Elaborate.
right, like, speaking from just knowing the people at this table, like with Riz,
It's
like,
important to add in. We used to date
yes,
back in the
like,
day.
yes, like, yes, like back, like way back when, like she was wild or whatever, and like just like like kind of careless. But I always knew, like, when she did have children, I knew she would be a good mom.
You just had that instinct.
No, like she's just like she's caring, like she's
Okay.
selfless, you know,
Mhm.
and like I feel like a lot of different things that good mothers possess, like I could look at those traits
Okay. That
and
makes
I would be
sense.
like, okay, well, this woman doesn't necessarily possess those traits. Like she's extremely like careless. She never puts anybody before herself. Everything is, you know, like some people don't want to have kids,
Mhm.
you know, but
That's
that's
true.
not me.
Yeah.
So that's what I look for. And but I want to get to my other like red flags.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
So another red flag would be, and I guess like red flags are just predictors. You know, like what you predict about this person.
Or signs we ignore because I feel like we see a lot of red flags.
Yeah.
And we,
So,
but go ahead. Sorry.
so another red flag would be like, and I don't want to sound like harsh, but a lack of intelligence. You know, like if you can't carry a conversation, a lack of, what's the word I'm looking for? I had too many jokes. A lack of versatility,
Mhm.
like being able to step in different rooms,
Okay.
like wear different hats. Like I feel like
Yeah.
that
Okay.
and this is all for me.
Yeah,
Like, you know, I'm not speaking for men, I'm not speaking for men across the board. I'm just speaking for me.
Mhm.
You know, like that would be a red flag for me. Um, a lack of sex appeal, that would be a red flag for me because it's not like I'm saying, oh, like um, this girl is not good at sex because she doesn't look like that to me. I'm saying like based on my interactions with you, I don't feel like we're sexually compatible.
Mhm.
You know, that's a red flag.
Right.
A deal breaker would be you actually lacking skills in the bedroom. Like, you
That's
know,
a deal breaker.
You can't
yeah,
teach her.
like, but I feel like I feel like you have your base, and then there's like
Yeah.
only so far you can. Not for real. That's how I feel.
But I feel like if sex is really important to you,
It's
it
important
is
to
important
everybody.
to a lot of men. No, it's not important to everybody. A lot of people, most people. Like I know for a fact it's really important to like my boyfriend. But so if you don't, sorry, I just know
Shout out to your boyfriend.
I just know it's
Keep
very
talking
like
about-
important for him. It's a deal breaker. Like if we can't. I'm gonna pass because I like lost train of thought. We're just gonna go back to whatever. But I do think like sex is important, and if you can't be compatible with sex,
That's
then
fact.
why, like, you know what I
Sex
mean?
could
But-
be a deal breaker.
Unless you're like okay to being in an open relationship and getting
Sex
your
could be-
that need felt
Like
elsewhere.
my dad, he was married before, and he was like, most relationships break up over money, sex, and kids. So that's how I feel about it. Like it's like, and most people don't want to talk about this, but this is the harsh reality of things. Like if you're a man and like a woman is naturally going to want you to step up and like handle things. To me,
What
you
you mean,
know?
like sexually?
No,
Oh.
like so when I'm talking about money, sex, and kids, like so like some relationships break up over money, you know, and I have mixed feelings about that.
You want to take care of a woman?
I would if
Period.
I no listen, I would if I had it to do, because it doesn't matter how we contribute, it just matters that we do. You know, like kind of like how Buki was saying about like just it doesn't matter who brings it in, it just matters that we have it. You know. But yeah, so I feel like just relationships break up over certain things, and some of those things like we don't want to acknowledge broke up that relationship, you know, romantically.
Red flags for me, I would say, and I hate to say it, but I'm just say it, insecurity. Like if you're an insecure person, and I get it, we all do be insecure about stuff, but it is fixable. An insecure person is a controlling person.
Yes, I was just gonna say that.
And control, being controlling or being controlled personally for me, like if you're trying to control me, red flag. Like in little ways though, like touching my phone, you know what I'm saying? Or trying to go through my phone. Um, you know what I'm saying? Like giving me a time where I could be out, or just making sure I'm home because you don't want me out, like stuff like that. Those are red flags for me. You know what is another red flag for me? What you doing? WYD.
I text you that.
Not, sis, you're not a red flag to me. like a man who will what you doing me to death. He will what you doing me to death and ain't asked me on a date yet. Why you keep asking me what I'm doing?
Right.
Don't
Chilling,
text me
not on
what
no
I'm
date.
doing. Ask me what time did I eat today and what time I'm gonna be ready for a date. And this is only like men who haven't, you don't know, who wants your number, they texting you and just what you doing, what you doing, what you doing. Can I come over? You ain't even take me out. Like, no, you can't come over. That's a red flag for me. So yeah, that's it. Controlling, insecure, what you doing, men. What you doing, man. That's it.
So, you know, aside from red flags, you know, there are a lot of positives to relationships. And I think that a lot of positives come into play when you are self aware in your relationship. Which I think is something big that we all are continuing to learn about ourselves and continuing to be more aware about ourselves. And I think that that plays such a huge part in relationships because then you feed off of each other. You know what I mean? And I feel like it kind of helps both of you, you know, grow in a way to where you can see, okay, not only am I going to talk about what you do and the deal breakers that you have or the red flags that you might have, but let me be self-aware of the part that I play in this too. Because I just feel like that is so important that a lot of us don't do.
A lot of
Just
people
being
are
honest,
not
like we just
self-aware.
it's so hard to do that. And you know what? It is very hard to hear about yourself, especially the negatives.
Let me say too, it's just like we be so focused on looking for that perfect person without trying to be that perfect person. Like work on yourself and you will attract whatever it is that you are. So if you're attracting the same type of person over and over and over, it's time for you to look within and say, what am I doing that is attracting, you know, whatever it is you're attracting that you don't want?
Yeah, and I just want to hit on that too because I feel like, you know, if you're in a relationship now or dating or whatever and you feel like whatever there's so much friction or you might be struggling, take a step back and and look at yourself and become more self-aware with you. And I swear your mind and your relationship will just start to change. It will really start to change drastically when you can really look at yourself and say, you know what, I do this. And you know what, maybe I should stop doing that, or I could do a little bit more of this for my partner, or whatever the case may be. When you actually really take that time and spend that time with yourself, I feel like your relationship could go nowhere but up.
And I agree with that because it's just like, you know, once you start to change or take, you know, be more self aware, you might realize that that person is changing too, like right behind you. Cause it's like, oh, now I realize like he's not responding negatively like that because I'm not talking to him with this smart tone. I changed my tone. So maybe it ain't him. Maybe it's me. Let me keep talking to him with this soft tone. You know what I'm saying? So self awareness is important for both parties. And if you want to be more self aware, they'll get you a therapist because they're gonna make sure of it.
Yes, yes. Um, so I wanted to touch on something else. What are some strengths do y'all think that every couple should have? Like, it's not a successful relationship without this. What are y'all have any of those?
Yeah, I think one of them is unity, um, actual unity, and not just being like a united front. So I feel like there's a difference between the two, and I feel like a lot of people, they have a united front, which is like, okay, we're together, we're strong, we're doing this and that and the third. We post pictures on Instagram, we post pictures on Twitter, but in all actuality, like, are you actually united? You know, are we actually are we actually sticking by each other? Is it actually like to the death? You know? So that's one thing I feel like every relationship should have, like when we're talking about romantic relationships. Also, um, I think every relationship should have um like kind of like what this podcast is about, just effort and work. Like I feel like a lot of times if you're with somebody for a long time, you fall into a routine. And it's like, okay, come home, go to work, do this down the third, go to the gym, whatever. It's like a routine. And I feel like a lot of relationships need like spontaneity and also just date nights and different things of that nature, like just to keep things fresh, and it just like it's easy to fall into just because essentially what happens is, from my experience, if you're with somebody for an extended period of time, you become close friends. And whenever it gets to be too friendly, that could harm your romantic part of the
That
relationship.
happens to me a lot.
It could seriously harm things. And to the point where like you may not even like start looking at that person
In a
like that
romantic way.
anymore. Like, so I feel like every relationship should also have loyalty. You know, every relationship should have um privacy. Every relationship should have privacy because at the end of the day, like whenever, and I was just touching on this with somebody else, which is just like, if we're going through 9 times out of 10, when people come to their family members or their friends about a problem, it's negative. It's a
Right.
problem. It's a problem that we're having. He's doing this. He's also done this in the past. She's doing this. She's also done this in the past. But we never, ever, ever, ever shed light on the positive things. But wait, he also does this. He
I feel
also
like I
does,
do that.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
really feel like I do that.
that's a rarity.
It,
It's not the
I feel like I
general rule.
do. Almost, I feel like I actually do it too much. Like I'm so much to the point where I'm like, he is a great guy. Like even if like there's something that made me mad, I always gotta say, but like he's this and he's that, to the
Mm.
point where people are like, you are also a prize.
Right.
Like don't forget that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I
Period.
put so much emphasis on him being such a great man. They're like, but you have to understand that you are a great woman too. You know? So I feel like I definitely do both. I can say that.
But it's just difficult because like you need somebody to talk to.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need somebody to
The
talk to, but at
therapist.
the same time, you
Like, not
really
biased.
don't need like people who you don't need to disclose things to people who are going to like form this opinion on the person because they're going to take your side. You know what I mean? The people you care about, they're going to look at everything from what's in your best interest, unless you're just confiding in a person who's just able to be objective all the time, which is rare.
That's what I
You know?
definitely do that with my friends now. We kind of ask each other, are we venting or do you want advice? Because sometimes I just want to complain about something I dealt with 3 times and I'm still going to go back. I'm just want to vent. I need you to be that. But I do have some friends that are like, Marissa, like, you're wrong. You like, you have to realize you did XYZ this week. And it's not that they're taking my side, because if it was like, all right, I need to get a U-Haul right now and we're leaving, they're going to be there to help me.
Right.
But they're also going to say to me, like, maybe you didn't take your medicine today, or maybe you haven't been going to the gym and getting you time, or maybe you're like choosing to overwork yourself or choosing to focus on all these negative things, which I think that we all do have to confide in somebody too, but a therapist would be the best.
But I mean, I feel like we all have to confide in somebody, but also watch what you share with certain people. Like, and even the people who you do confide in all the time, like I confide in my sister, I confide in my mom, but I don't always share every single detail about my marriage. Like some stuff we have to keep private. You know what I mean? And for relationships too, like some stuff you have to keep for yourself. Like you have to keep private for yourself. So yeah, it makes sense.
I overshare.
That's why I told you everything as soon as I came in.
But it's a coping
Say it
mechanism for
podcast.
me. Like that's just how I could get over it. I gotta say things out loud. It's a part of a journey for me. So I gotta talk about it, and I gotta talk about it with multiple people. But I know that if we're in a serious relationship, I know that if you're going to choose this person, you have to be particular about what you say, because once your family start forming opinions about a person you love, it makes it very difficult. So.
That's what I think. To go back to strengths in relationship, I could say communication, but that's very vague. And I think that communication is 100% important, but also you might not always be able to form the right words to say. So it's more important to listen. And I learned that in like one of my classes this semester. I am the worst listener ever. Like I've really tried this time to just keep my mouth shut, and because you kind of have an idea come, and it's like I'm biting my tongue to wait for you to finish talking so I can say what I have to say.
So you're listening to respond and not listening to really hear.
Yes, but as soon as I had that thought and I'm biting my tongue to say it, my ability to listen to you is just going down every second that I'm continuing to wait to say what I have to say. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's important to learn to have a thought come and then to let it go while you're listening to somebody else. Because I had 15 thoughts come as I was listening to Justin, but I was able to let them flow so I could listen to what he's really saying to counter off of that. Because sometimes I'm just like, and anyways, mine would be, it had nothing to do with communication at all. So I think listening would be the most important thing. And setting a time in the day,
no, you're good.
Would be say at 8:30 at night. This was advice from somebody, is that I feel like I'm not heard or listened to. So at 7:30 every evening, this is the time we put our phones down and we talk. And that's it. So like whenever I'm talking to him and he won't even put his controller down because I walked up to him in the middle of a game. You know what I mean? Instead of like, hey, this is the time where we talk about our problems we're having with each other. I haven't tried it yet. It didn't work, but I'm excited to, if that makes sense. I don't have experience from it. I just got advice from somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna actually say the same thing about communication, because that's something I really struggle with, but I know that that's a strength that you need in relationships. Like I will overtalk people, and a lot of feedback I got from the first podcast was like, you kept over talking her. I do be so quick to respond because I get these ideas and these thoughts, and I'm like, hold on, let me say this, but it's like, I do need to practice being a better listener, even in my relationship. So even when I'm dating people, like just communication is a struggle for me, but I also learned it's a struggle for a lot of people. But if you really get communication down packed, you could literally have such a like powerful relationship. Like even just little things like, hey, I'm insecure about some things, and I always think every time you leave, you're going to find somebody better than me. And if you communicate that with me, or I communicate that with you, now it's my job as a partner to be like, reassure you, hey, I'm not going nowhere. I love you. I want to be with you, and vice versa, whatever. But it's just like you got to communicate about the small things too, like. And that's what I wanted to talk about as far as strengths, like those small little things, or even, we talked about in the last podcast in bed, communicate whatever it is you need to communicate in the bedroom about the kids. It could be so small, like, hey, you know what? I don't like when you use this certain tone when you're talking to our child, even though it might be uncomfortable, like just say it, because, okay, I didn't notice that I was talking to her like that. Let me talk differently. You know what I'm saying? Just those small things are important. That's what I wanted to say about strengths.
Yeah. Asking me?
Strengths, yeah.
Oh, I didn't tell y'all my deal breaker. So let me go back to that. My deal breaker is cheating. It's just a no-brainer. Cheating is I just wanted to let that be known. But strengths that I feel like every couple should have. I gotta piggyback off what Marissa said, like listening, like, because that's a big thing. Like we always listen to have a response. And when you really listen, and I think that empathy, sympathy, whatever you want to call it, with your partner is so important. Like try to understand your partner's position. And I feel like that just helps. That just even for me, like, I might be in a mood or something, but then I think about, all right, well, I know he probably had a really long day as well. He's doing this, he's doing that. So let me take a step back and maybe fix whatever it is that maybe I was doing. I feel like just empathizing with your partner and really trying to understand them. I feel like that's a big one for me.
I think the empathy is the most important. I've always like struggled with ADHD and depression. Those are the two main things that I would say I go back and I'm embarrassed about. Like, you don't just tell somebody that. So when I met him, I'm not like, I have depression and I have ADHD. I can't focus and I can't have a conversation, XYZ. So I never wanted to talk about it. So every day, and you use the term in a mood, and that's what kind of brought me back to it, is I always, if I'm depressed and I'm really having a hard time getting out of bed, I like say, oh, I'm in the mood today. That to him, that means I have an attitude for no reason. He has no idea that I'm literally like struggling to get out of bed in the morning.
Can you communicate that a little better?
That's exactly what I'm learning to do. So instead of me wording it as I'm in a mood, the cloud came, it's here, like I'm depressed. So I need you to actually get up. I know you're tired too, but I need you to just change the diapers before you bring them downstairs, because I can't do it today. I can't cook today. So I don't need you slamming. I guess I'll order a pizza. I'm sad today. I don't know why. There's no reason. You did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. We're just working through it. So I think that empathy is one of the big things, and just understanding each other. It's my job, and I'm mad at him for him treating me like this. You kick me when I'm down. I never even told him. I never even told him like what's really going on through my head. And then I would try to word it in a way of, I'm in a mood. That doesn't mean anything to him. I need to communicate so he understands. And if it doesn't work the next time, try again, because the vibes might be off the first time. So there's been times we've just had an argument that's consistent. It took us 3 times to talk about it. It took me 3 times to actually have him put his phone down, not because I asked him to, because he was listening to me.
And I think that's why a lot of times women, it's hard for us to articulate how we're feeling in that moment, because we don't want to argue about those feelings in that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to argue about it. But y'all, I think we had a great conversation. I really do. Like, there's so much that you could talk about when it comes to relationships. But I just want to thank y'all so much for being our first guest. We really appreciate y'all coming. Yes, we appreciate it. And y'all, please like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what y'all want to hear. If you would like to be a guest on our podcast, we're going to have
I'm gonna make a Google link for us so you can sign up for particular topics. But I also wanted to thank y'all both for coming on the show.
Yes.
So excited. Like, y'all, these are our long life friends for real. But yes, congratulations to both of them. I'm graduating in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, both of them.
And happy Mother's Day to both of y'all.
Yay!
Yes.
And happy Nurses Appreciation Week to Pookie.
And is there anything like y'all want to say before we close out?
No, just thanks for listening and keep listening.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes, thank y'all so much for coming, y'all. We love y'all.